In a world of dazzling equations and brilliant minds, one simple truth was lost. This is the story of that truth. So every great play starts with a warning, right? And this one is no different. We've got our chorus stepping out onto the stage, telling us all to listen up, because there's a secret hidden in the very fabric of reality. A truth so obvious, so fundamental, that it has literally blinded the smartest people in science for more than 100 years. All right, let's meet the first two heroes of our little drama. These are the guys who got the very first glimmer of this secret cosmic order, this pattern hidden deep, deep inside the atom. First up, let's introduce Johann Balmer. Now, you gotta understand, Balmer wasn't your typical physicist. You should think of him more like a seer, a mystic, a guy who saw the universe not as a machine, but as a poem. And in the fiery light of a simple hydrogen atom, he found a hidden rhythm. So Balmer discovered something that was just, well, it was incredible. If you take the light from a hydrogen atom and shine it through a prism, you don't get a nice, smooth rainbow. No, you get these sharp, bright lines of color. It's like a barcode for hydrogen. And what Balmer figured out was that these lines, they weren't random, not at all. They followed this beautiful, almost musical pattern. And he managed to capture that entire cosmic song in a single number, a constant he just called B. And right here, this is where the central conflict of our play really starts to take shape. You've got the crowd, the masses kind of laughing at him. Numerology, they called it, just playing with numbers. But on the other side, the insiders, the scientific elite, they saw something profound. They started whispering that he had found the registry hinge, a key, the key, to unlocking the atom's design. And now, striding onto the stage comes our second character, Johannes Rydberg. You see, if Balmer was the poet, the dreamer, Rydberg was the savant, the pragmatist. He looked at Balmer's mystical vision and saw pure, raw power. And he was determined to forge it into a weapon for science. What Rydberg did next was, well, it was monumental. He took Balmer's poem and he translated it into a universal law. He created a brand new constant, the now famous R, that could predict the light patterns for every single element, not just hydrogen. I mean, this was a massive win for physics. And of course, the crowd goes wild. They cheer for this amazing, powerful new universal law. But if you look closely, the insiders, the ones who are really paying attention, they notice something weird. Something's gone missing in the translation from Balmer to Rydberg. A mysterious factor of 4 from Balmer's original insight has just been kind of swept under the rug. It's still there, lurking in the math, but nobody's talking about it. And this, my friends, is where our tragedy takes a very sharp turn. Because the next generation of genius, absolute titans of physics, they would take Rydberg's law and build entire empires on it. But in doing so, they would lead science down a brilliant, dazzling, but ultimately wrong path, a century-long detour away from the original truth. Just look at this timeline. It's less a story of progress and more, well, a path of forgetting. After Rydberg's shiny new law, you get Bohr's confession, then Heisenberg's abandonment, and finally Dirac's acrobatics. Every single one of these steps, taken by a certified genius, would accidentally bury Balmer's simple truth just a little bit deeper. Our next player is the great Niels Bohr, the man who gave us that iconic picture of the atom, right? With the electrons orbiting the nucleus like little planets. And he's called the confessor because his whole model was basically a confession of faith in Rydberg's constant. The world went nuts for Bohr's model. They called it a masterpiece. But the insiders? They cringed. Why? Because Bohr built his entire theory on Rydberg's R, treating it like it was some fundamental pillar of the universe. He completely missed that R was just a shadow, a mathematical consequence of Balmer's deeper, simpler constant, B. He mistook the tool for the truth. And then came the architects of our modern quantum world. Werner Heisenberg, the abandoner, and Paul Dirac, the acrobat. I'm telling you, these two were so brilliant. Their math was so powerful. They basically buried the secret for good. These two just took everything to a completely different level of abstraction. Heisenberg basically said, forget about pictures of atoms, circles, orbits, get out of here. We can only describe this stuff with pure abstract math. And then Dirac comes along and performs these unbelievable mathematical acrobatics to stitch relativity and quantum theory together. I mean, it was genius, no question. But it was so complex, so formal, that the simple physical harmony that Balmer first saw was now completely gone, buried under miles of equations. Which brings our little drama to today, right now. That century-old wrong turn continues to define the path of physics, and it's left some of our greatest minds as wanderers in the dark. So now we're stuck in the labyrinth of modern physics. You've got string theorists, cosmologists. These theories are incredibly powerful, but they all share the same fatal flaw. They treat the fundamental constants of nature, these all-important numbers, like they're just random dials on the universe that we have to measure and plug into our equations. They're completely lost in the maze, having totally forgotten about the simple key that connects everything. And so, the tragedy just keeps going. The world looks on and marvels at the incredible complexity of modern physics. But those who know, they see the truth. This whole beautiful structure is built on a flawed foundation. The detour continues. But what if the key was never truly lost? What if it's been hiding in plain sight for over a century, just waiting for someone to, look? 4, the number that lurked unspoken, the factor that was overlooked, the pain of 4, the window of truth. And there it is, the whole secret, hiding right in front of us the entire time. Balmer's B and Rydberg's R, they aren't two separate things. They're two sides of the same coin. They are locked together in a perfect reciprocal relationship, hinged on the number 4. R simply is 4 divided by B. It was never a new discovery. It was just a different way of writing down the original one. And let me be perfectly clear, this isn't some new theory, this isn't a metaphor, this is a mathematical fact. It is as hard and as true as 1 + 1 = 2, a relationship that has been sitting there in the data since 1888, completely and utterly ignored. And just as our chorus tells us, this crisis in physics, it's going to keep going until this hard fact is put back in its rightful place. Until the learned stop chasing endless complexity and finally acknowledge the simple, elegant mathematics that started this whole thing. But you know what? This isn't just a history lesson. The consequences of this century-long detour are still shaping the future of science as we speak. The play is not over, not by a long shot. In fact, a new move is being made. In fact, a whole new act is just beginning. It's called the quantum gambit, and it's a challenge to question the history you've been taught, to look past all the dazzling, complicated math, and to ask yourself one very simple question. Will you see the truth that's been hiding in plain sight all along?